Miss Morabito says when it comes to her fiancé, 2 may be company, but 3 is definitely cheating. Today on Divorce Court. All rise. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding.
Hello, everyone. You may be seated.
Your Honor, the case of Morabito v. Belle.
Thank you very much, Miss Morabito, Miss Belle. It's a pleasure to have you here on Divorce Court. And welcome to Divorce Court today. Today, our litigants are trying to decide whether or not there's enough left in the tank to actually pull the trigger and get married. A long-distance relationship is how it started. They finally got together, but there's some problems that have reared their head. Let's figure it out together. Miss Morabito, why are we in court?
I love my wife with everything that I have, to the point where I have sacrificed everything for her, including my own family. And at this point, I can't sacrifice anything else. If she is cheating on me, after everything that I have been able to do for her and have given up for her, I can't go through with the wedding.
Miss Belle, did you hear what Miss Morabito said?
Yes.
What do you say?
I'm here because Bear's my always and forever. I can't imagine a life without her, but I need her to loosen the leash she is strangling me with. She's gotten so controlling, I can't even stand it anymore. I can't keep on if she's going to accuse me of cheating and lying and sneaking around.
And you say that that's just not true.
It's not.
Miss Belle, you think this relationship is worth fighting for?
I do. I believe it with all of my heart. I'd give anything for her.
So we're going to find out where this lack of trust comes from. Why don't you take me back, Miss Morabito? You guys have been together, it says on my court papers, 9 years.
We met when we were kids on an online site with writing.
Okay.
Was one of our common interests. And we did start out as friends, but we figured out that we have so much in common that why not take it to the next level?
You sort of grew up together.
Yes. She means everything to me. I left behind everything, including my family. I chose her over them.
How did that come about?
My family never approved of the relationship. One particularly close relative actually refused to help me at all because she thought that the move was a stupid one on my part. And she caused a lot of issues, including going so far as to call the police and say that Milo was hurting me to the point of, she actually ended up accusing Milo of murdering me, to the point where the police said that they had to hear from me to even make sure that Milo was telling the truth when she said, oh no, I have her right here.
In other words, they did a wellness check on you.
Yes, ma'am.
To make sure that you were not dead or injured.
Yes, ma'am.
That's extreme. Miss Belle, did you know that all this was going on in Miss Morabito's life?
We always knew that this person was going to be a problem in the long run, but we never thought it would get that far. And when it happened, it was terrifying. They broke into our house while we weren't there, and it was the first time I've ever offered Bear an ultimatum.
And what was that ultimatum?
That if you don't leave, then you leave me.
So a relative has gotten to the point where Miss Morabito had to choose. And Miss Morabito, you chose Miss Belle.
I did.
That's pretty tough.
It was. It was heartbreaking because that family member turned the rest of my family against me, to the point where I actually only have 2 people left in my family. The hardest part for me is that I ended up losing my siblings in that cut contact. Thank you. And one of them is graduating this year, and I can't even be there for him.
I'm so sad to hear that people's own biases and prejudices have caused you so much pain. I'm here to tell you that you're allowed to be your authentic self. There are people who will like you and who will love you as your authentic self. But you will not if you're not authentic.
Thank you, ma'am.
I wanted to get the background because I can see that you all built on a foundation that said we love each other, we trust each other, but something changed. So, Miss Morabito, what makes you think that your fiancé would be a cheater and a liar?
She spends so much time on the phone with her best friend, and when we were still in Ohio, she spent so much time with her and away from me. And the most incriminating piece of evidence I found while I was cleaning out our car.
Tell me what it was.
It was a receipt for a restaurant that I know that we had never been to together. And it was totaling for almost $130. And I knew that that was a lot more than anyone could spend on themselves. So I finished cleaning the car and I kept that receipt with me so that way when she came home that night, I brought it up to her and I said, "What is this for? What happened?"
And I told you very clearly that it was because I took my friend out, whose dad had died around the same time years prior, to make sure that she didn't do anything risky.
I don't understand what the problem is. Had she done something to make you not trust her?
And because I had also found hair ties in her car, and as you can see, our hair is not long enough.
And you knew we had long-haired friends. Everything I do is under speculation all of the time. I have no breathing room. If I make a mistake or say something, then
Give me an example. I need to know what specifically you're talking about.
Okay, if I say I'm going out, and I don't say who with or, what time I'll be back, suddenly it's I'm going to track you on your Snapchat and see where you are. I was at Kings Island. It's a fun amusement park in Ohio. It's great. And I was with my best friend, and we were on rides. I can't take out my phone when I'm on a roller coaster. That's not...
Is this the first best friend that you spent $120 on? Or is this
best friend? Her name's Mackenzie. She's here today, and she's been my friend for 9 years.
And let me guess, Miss Morabito, you don't particularly care for Mackenzie.
I don't.
I know there's always an underline. I knew there was something. I figured there's a reason that you don't trust is because you don't particularly care for this young lady that she's spending time with. Is that fair?
That's very fair. It's true. I don't.
Do you think they should get married?
Personally, no, especially with the amount of fighting that they're going through. I had a lot of respect for their relationship, and I didn't want to get in the middle of that.
I've seen pictures of the two of you together.
You two are the ones that are in the relationship. I have respect for boundaries.
Clearly you don't.
I'm having trouble understanding why you're so insecure about your relationship when you all both came in here and told me how much you loved each other.
Because the time when I couldn't get a hold of her at Kings Island, I was still under the impression that she had gone there alone, when she was horribly depressed. So I got concerned for her well-being, and so I drove up to Kings Island. And the first place that I looked was at her favorite ride. And I was there in the distance, just enough time to see all of them get off her favorite ride. And lo and behold, there she is with Mackenzie, hugging. And before that sounds weird, there's a very clear difference between, oh, I'm hugging my best friend, to, oh, that's a really long hug you got going on there.
So it looked more like they were a couple than they were just friends hanging out.
Absolutely. So I admit that I had gone up to them and I demanded to know what was what. And I quite literally said, were you here hooking up?
I actually think that's a fair question. Were you there hooking up?
No, I don't know what I'm gonna do on a roller coaster. I mean, that's a great place to get handsy, right?
There are bathrooms, multiple.
Do I look like a dollar grade hoe to you?
That's a very valid question, but I tell you what, I love the fact that your best friend, Mackenzie Vulich, has said, let's put this to rest. And so the court asked if it was okay to call her as a witness, and you both agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Will you please ask the witness to join us, Corey?
Sure thing. Ma'am.
Hi there.
Hi.
Please tell me your name.
Mackenzie Vulich.
Okay, Miss Vulich, you are dear friends with the defendant, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how long have you and Miss Belle known each other?
8 going on 9 years.
Have you all lived in the same area for that amount of time?
Not the entire time, but a good portion of it.
So what do you think of the relationship between the two of them since you've been the best friend and you've been around?
I would say tense. Whenever I'm around them, like they fight a lot. They're always fighting.
So why do you think that Miss Morabito doesn't like you?
Me and Milo, we were very close, and we were constantly hanging out. Like we were hanging out every day.
That's what best friends do. They hang out.
Yeah.
And so once Miss Morabito moved to your location, then I have to imagine some of that hanging out dissipated. It went away.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a specific. I understand there was an incident when you and Miss Belle went to explore a building. What happened?
Yeah, after we ended up exploring that building, we ended up going back to Milo's house. And when we did, Bear was going off on us. She was attacking Milo pretty much for not telling her what we were doing. And then she was also mad at me because she felt like I wasn't going to be able to protect her and that I was irresponsible and putting her in a bad situation.
But aren't you just two 20-something-year-olds just hanging out?
In an abandoned building that should be condemned, that they've been hanging out in multiple times before I even got up there, and I got to hear about all the, oh, hey, the floor collapsed, almost died. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
It sounds
Until I wasn't allowed to do it anymore.
Okay, it sounds like 20-year-old shenanigans.
Yeah, normal things that people would not overthink if they were normal.
Oh, okay.
Miss Village, they're supposed to get married. How do you all plan to manage this best friendship? Because you're 20-something and you all like to hang, and I don't see anything wrong with the hanging, but for some reason, Miss Morabito feels like it's something more. Is there something you want to say, Miss Belle?
I give up everything too. My family looks at me every day like I'm gonna burn in hell because of her. And I was willing to risk that. I could have had a totally normal relationship and they would have been fine with it.
Do you think they should get married?
Personally, no. I don't think that they should, especially with the amount of fighting that they're going through. But I mean, at the same time, I also have my own reservations about it because I actually have liked Milo since like school.
Is it
Like I've had a thing for Milo since school.
Miss Belle, did you know that?
No.
She did.
Miss Village, have you expressed those feelings to Miss
No.
Belle?
Because I had a lot of respect for their relationship and I didn't want to get in the middle of that.
And nothing happened in terms of an intimate setting as it relates to you and Miss Belle, is that correct?
Yeah, no. That's correct.
So you respected the boundaries?
Yes.
Miss Belle, did you ever know that Miss Village was feeling a romantic interest in you, not just a platonic friendship?
No, I thought we were best friends. I mean, we still are, but if she felt that way, she would have told me that, and she never told me that. So no, I had no idea.
You really had feelings for her this entire time, and you were just, and you knew that we were together, and yet you still were like, oh yeah, let's go hang out. I've seen pictures of the two of you together.
You're gonna twist that as
Okay.
she felt that way towards me, and then
It's
a
obvious.
problem that she didn't act on it?
Why would I act on it if you two are the ones that are in the relationship? I have respect for boundaries.
Clearly you don't.
But wait, Miss Morabito, I have not heard Miss Village do anything that was inappropriate. As a matter of fact, according to Miss Belle, she didn't even know Miss Village felt that way.
If I did, we would have had a conversation about it, but it should speak more to her character about the fact that she never did anything when she felt that way for God knows how long. You should respect her more because of it.
Miss Morabito, I didn't hear Miss Village say that they've done anything that, but I see you shaking your head and you don't believe it.
I don't, because at the end of the day, she's already admitted that she doesn't want the wedding to go through. She's never liked us together, and all they need to do is paint me like the bad guy and then get away with it scot-free.
Well, this is the one thing that I can help with because, Miss Belle, you were willing to take a polygraph examination to put these fears to rest. Am I correct?
I have nothing to hide.
So why don't we get to the results? Corey, would you please ask the expert to join us?
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Sir.
Because we need to start from a place of truth and honesty, and then we'll see if there's anything left in this relationship. Hello, Mr. Yarborough.
Good day, Your Honor.
Mr. Yarborough, please state your name for the record and tell me about your professional affiliations.
My name is John Yarborough. I'm a certified polygraph examiner, also a member of the American Polygraph Association, and I have conducted hundreds of polygraphs for law enforcement and other public safety agencies across the state, as well as professional and private polygraphs.
I've found you more than qualified to provide services to this court, and I asked you to put 3 questions to her. The first question, we asked Miss Belle, did you have any sexual contact with the person that left those hair ties in your car?
That is correct.
What was Miss Belle's answer?
Ms. Bell answered no.
And what did the test results indicate?
The polygraph examination results indicated There was no deception indicated to that question.
Thank
She
you
was
very
being
much.
Off to a
Ms.
writing
Belle
start.
answered that question truthfully.
That is correct.
The second question we asked Ms. Belle, since starting your relationship with Ms. Morabito, have you had any sexual contact with your friend, Ms. Fullage? Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And what was Ms. Belle's answer?
Ms. Bell answered no.
And what did the test results indicate?
The polygraph examination results indicated there was no deception indicated to that question.
And so she told the truth.
She was being truthful in her answer to that question, Your Honor.
And the third question, we asked Ms. Belle, while in a relationship with Ms. Morabito, have you had sexual contact with anyone other than her?
That is correct.
And what was Ms. Belle's answer?
Ms. Bell answered no.
And what did the test results indicate?
The polygraph examination results indicated there was deception indicated to that question.
You thought you could beat the box, but I always ask one question too many. Mr. Yarborough, I thank you for your services as usual.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
I think we have something to talk about. What's going on, Miss Belle? It's not Miss Fullage, but there's somebody else that you've cared about and had some sort of intimate contact with in some way. Is that true?
Yeah.
Were these 9 years nothing to you?
Miss Fullage, you may have something that you want to express to Miss Belle, but this may not be the time to do it because she needs to resolve a lot of other issues with her. I think you'd agree with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Fullage, you might want to find somebody that matches your level of character and integrity to bring them into your life because you seem like a very nice young lady who does not cross boundaries, and I'd be proud to have you as my best friend also.
Thank you.
Thank you. Corey, you can escort the witness out.
Sure thing. You want to follow me this way?
Thank you, Miss Fullage.
Who was it? I lost everything. I lost the car of my dreams, my family. I put up with your family.
Is there something you want to say, Miss Belle?
She has no right to say that, regardless of what happened. She is not the only one who gave up for that. I give up everything too. My family looks at me every day like I'm gonna burn in hell because of her. I was willing to risk that. I could have had a totally normal relationship and they would have been fine with it.
You can
I
have
gave
that
her up my
relationship.
time.
You can have it. You can have your rings back too. Because
Ladies,
clearly you made your choice.
let me say this to the two of you. You needed to spend some time in person to find out if this is what you want. You're allowed to make mistakes, but what you're not allowed to do is take somebody else along on that journey and break their heart. That's what you're not allowed to do. You can see who you want to see, but you shouldn't be lying to your partner. If this is not the time for you to make a long-term commitment, then don't make a long-term commitment. There's nothing wrong with that, ma'am. It's fair to say you're not ready to be in a long-term committed relationship. It's time for you to move on. Stop hurting each other. It's not fair. And if you can find your way back, go with God. But if not, move on with dignity. That's my verdict.
Are you gonna tell me who it was, or am I gonna have to figure that out for myself?
I think you know who it was.
Figures. I should have known.
You act like you're shocked.
You're right. I shouldn't be.
I mean, it would be pretty stupid to think so.
Made in Georgia.